Alright, we're going to wrap up our reading of Dallas Pimiento, Book 3, Bronchodilator, with a rather short installment. I'm going to put the project on hiatus after this, and then at some point in the future we'll begin reading the fourth and final part of the novel. We're beginning with a piece called Horse Consumes Master's Costume. Another man might have been intimidated, agreed Orbis LeGreg, lifting the lid on the stew pot with an old hat wadded up in his hand, and turned the spoon about 1 or 2 times in the stew and sniffed deeply at it. Almost done, he commented, as Lyndon Franker responded to LeGreg's statement about another man. I'm glad you see it like that, Franker said, his left foot high up on his lap, the better for him to massage its big toe. He had nearly lost it to frostbite 6 months earlier. It still pained him. What have you got in there, he asked, nodding at the stew pot. I don't think you want to know, said LeGreg, smiling. Oh, come on now, I can take it. Remember what I've been through. Franker tapped the arcane symbol on the back of his left hand. Well, LeGreg sighed, we have a little olive oil, a little black pepper, some broth I've had since last Christmas's feast, and, well, my mother's wedding dress. With these last words, LeGreg looked up at Franker questioningly. I've eaten worse, Franker assured him. It's made of silk, explained LeGreg, so it's organic, and therefore I figured boiled down, edible. And probably nutritious, mused Franker. LeGreg smiled broadly. An educated man, he pronounced delightedly. Franker looked at him curiously. You may not think it to look at the place, LeGreg gestured about him at the dim, dilapidated one-room shack, but I've a number of books hidden here. Indeed, Franker wondered. He watched LeGreg get up from his stool and limp to a plastic bucket full of rusty nails in the middle of the room. He moved this aside, revealing a small trapdoor set in the floor. Once he had this opened, LeGreg reached inside and pulled out a half-dozen volumes. He handed them to Franker. I have loads more down there, LeGreg informed him. I read them when I've time. Franker examined the books, saying their titles aloud. Mr. Eddington's Visions of Stalemate, How to Photograph Hats, The Purple Uncle, My Own Sarsaparilla, Take Him Back to Doggy World, Bean Eater. Hey, he exclaimed upon reading the last title, I've read this one, it's really good. No ice cream for breakfast. Leaves of multicolored construction paper fell to the ground at the first heavy step of the giant goat into the artificial forest. Something is amiss here, said one of the 3 ape-like creatures riding on the goat's back. Amiss, mocked Tonko, the second of the creatures to speak in our hearing. You and I are 1,000 miles away, watching these events on the telenet screen in the office we share. You have a bag of crawlers. I want one, but will not let you know that. Even if you offer me one, I will refuse. I find strength in my contempt for your interest in the Telenet's offering, which is greater than mine. I am only watching because it is our job to watch. This woodland scene doesn't seem quite genuine, the first creature, whose name is Nicole, stared intently at the painted trees. Why don't you talk right? Tonko demanded. Someone might be watching, Nicole answered, urging the goat deeper into the forest. I don't want them to think I'm a dumbass. You don't want them to know you're a dumbass, Tonko retorted. Please, moaned the third creature, which I will tell you was named Foster, since you seem unconcerned with checking out the supplementary material. The third creature to speak sat between the other two, holding his left arm. It had been badly mangled in an incident that occurred sometime before their appearance on our screen. The exact nature of this incident is unknown to us, but we can guess something about it from Nicole's next words. The venom is putrefying his flesh. We've got to get him medical attention. Medical attention? Why don't you just say get him to a healer like you normally would back home? Tonko was angry. His wife had recently lost her job. Please, Foster begged again. Your bickering only makes my arm hurt more. We're not back home, Nicole hissed, turning around to face Tonko. When are you going to get that through your thick skull? Something happened and now we're wherever this place is. Do you want a crawler? You asked suddenly, holding out the bag to me. Sure, I replied, cursing myself for my weak will. I'm supposed to be on a diet. A 10-pot satisfaction. Inaccurate assessments of the demand for biscuits led to shortages throughout the impromptu village. When General Desquith heard of the situation, he was buckling on his sword preparatory to a walk down to the recently opened library. He turned to his fellow generals, Osgood and Bebley. "I say," he said to them, "is that American biscuits you're talking about?" "Yes," Osgood replied. "The little fluffy things one puts butter inside of." "And jelly," Bebley added. He was a stout man, but a good soldier. "Oh, for a moment I thought you meant biscuits, what the Americans call cookies." Desquith shuddered at the word. "Oh, no, no," laughed Osgood. Bebley put the fingertips of his one hand to his lips as he began to consider cookies as if he had forgotten about their existence until now. "Well, as that's settled," concluded Desquith, "I shall go to the library." He descended the precarious 2x8 that led from the door of the general's quarters to the street, passing by two grubby men of miniature proportions as he continued on his way. "Look at him," muttered Sanchez, one of the two dirty little men. "But he doesn't go wanting for a soft, hot biscuit with his morning sherry." "I think General Desquith is a teetotaler," Groston, the other man, disagreed. Sanchez looked at him with a scowl of disgust. "That's what I've heard," Groston protested. Sanchez turned his gaze back to the figure of the general, walking with an authorial bearing towards the newly opened library. "Let's follow him and see where he goes," suggested Groston, eager to get back into the good graces of his companion. "Maybe he knows where some biscuits are. Maybe he's gone to get some." Sanchez's eyes grew wider. He slapped Groston's chest with the back of his hand and started after the general. At the library, the two men entered with trepidation. They jerked their caps off in confusion as to the proper way to behave in this strange, quiet place. "It's full of books," hissed Groston. "Do you see Desquith?" asked Sanchez. "No." "Let's ask that lady if she saw him." Groston pointed. On being approached, however, the librarian immediately informed them that all books containing biscuit recipes were currently checked out. Directionless league travail ends in a single teardrop. I dragged Dallas Pimiento into one of the larger galleries in the bean-shelling district. He complained that he had better things to do, but I pulled him firmly by the sleeve of his overcoat before a large, heavily framed painting. I dropped his arm and gestured at the painting with both hands, looking at him expectantly. "What?" he asked with a blank look. "Don't you recognize it?" I asked. "No," he said. I sighed and turned him about so they faced another painting, this one also large and exquisitely framed. "What about this one?" I asked. Pimiento stared for a moment and shook his head. "No, I don't recognize it," he answered. I sighed again. "I don't know what you're getting at," Pimiento insisted. "You painted it," I revealed, "and that one." I pointed at the first painting. "And that one, and that one." I pointed at several more in the room. "In fact, you painted all the ones in this room." "I don't think so," Pimiento chuckled, backing away from me a step. "I thought for sure you'd remember these two at least. They meant a lot to you." "Oh, they did, huh?" "Yes, they're full of symbolism related to your various adventures." "What adventures?" he demanded. He flung out his arms so that his overcoat parted in front, revealing the red T-shirt with the picture of ZZ Top on it that he wore underneath. "Look at me," he laughed. "I've never done anything. Oh, sure, I've dreamed of doing things, planned many great projects, but I've never had the balls." Here he gripped his right hand tightly in a fist. "To do anything." His voice had risen and attracted the attention of a gallery attendant about my age. She approached us and asked, could we please keep it down? "Hey, let me ask you a question," Pimiento addressed her. "Do you recognize me?" He turned his profile to her. "Do I look like somebody you maybe should know?" The woman considered him a moment. "You're not Dallas Pimiento, are you?" she said. "You see, I told you," I said triumphantly.